We're live. Oh, welcome everyone to the Preferred Experience. This is a podcast that Millzer's been thinking about for quite a while now, and we're finally able to get to a place where we can sit down and introduce everybody to the Preferred Experience. I'm Will Barrett, and across the desk from me is Stacy Mills. We know him as the Millzer. Stacy, how'd you come up with this idea for the Preferred Experience podcast?
Well, you know, podcasting has become such a commonplace theme now as far as delivering content and telling about what's going on in the community and what's going on in people's lives. And this is I had the equipment, and basically I had the equipment, and our conversations that we have between us as friends, all our little group of friends, everything. I'm like, you know, this is maybe some folks might find this a little entertaining. I mean, I know people have a lot of fun with us when we do our little live streams going down the highway heading to football games and stuff. But,
sure. But
hey, look, we're not all about football. There's many depths to this group, and
it's like a cake or an onion, right? Subtle layers,
peeled layers, and the layers will make you cry. They
sometimes, yeah, for different reasons.
For
all kind of different reasons. Sometimes because of sadness, sometimes because you feel sorry for them, or maybe it's just joy. But the full gamut of emotions get run when you're with these guys.
Mostly embarrassment.
A lot of embarrassment.
A lot of embarrassment.
Tears of embarrassment. Oh my gosh, secondhand embarrassment. You know, oh, gosh,
I know those people.
I feel so bad for them. I'm embarrassed for them. But it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to cut up. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk about things going on in the city here in Prattville, Alabama. We're going to talk about things going on in our region, things going on in the country, maybe a little politics, maybe a little sports, whatever's on the dais for the day. You know, so you know, it's like nothing's off the table. We're going to have guests in here each week. Robert Strichik is going to be part of this podcast. He's going to be coming in here regularly. We're going to have a section with one of our favorite sons of Prattville, Chip Powell, and his he begged us, right?
He begged us.
Please let me do my poetry minute, okay? We're like, okay. So,
well, I mean, we're in a situation where we have to let him do it because we're no longer playing Sidney Lanier, and that was his night to shine.
It was. He looked forward to that night every year when the Poets would come to town, or we would go over to the bowl and play the Poets over in Montgomery, the Sidney Lanier Poets, and that brought the poetry out of him, and he could share his love with the world.
And what people learn from Chip in this is we'll have him on here in a little bit, and I caught wind that Sidney Lanier is not even his favorite poet. He was just doing that because of Sidney Lanier. It was the only way he could get his poetry out. He had to make it sound like, and from what I've heard, it's a eclectic list of who he really. There's more depth to Chip Powell than I really thought.
It really is, and you know, it was budding in him in his high school days here in Prattville. But what really brought that out of him was the summer workouts with Coach Dye.
Yeah, Coach Dye. I mean, that's the word behind it all. Is Chip won't confirm it, of course, and I think he's just too he's just too humble to even say it. But there were several times with Pat Dye when Chip was ready to quit English Lit class and practice harder. Coach Dye said, "No, son, you must pursue your love of poetry."
Dye said he seen him wrestling with them English Lit angels. Finally convinced him to stay in it.
And he watched them become men.
Watched him become a man of poetry. So, yeah, we'll get into that here in just a minute. But yeah, this is going to be fantastic. We're going to have weekly, if not bi-weekly, podcasts with all kind of different guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we're doing it. I'm glad you pulled me in on this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already got some confirmation. We're going to have a couple of special guests here real soon because they've got a big event coming up at the end of the month. Is the Marlon and Marcus Foundation. We're going to have Marcus Jackson and Marlon Anderson in here with us to talk about that. But as I explained this podcast thing to Will when I first got, I don't want it to be. Yes, we want it to be informative where you can find out what's going on, but we want to know more about the people behind the. So often, you know, you're under time crunches or whatever in the environment where people are just all they got time to do is tell you about their event and ask you to come take a part of it. We want to learn more about the people.
Yeah, events are great. People are better.
Yeah,
right. So that's kind of the gist of the preferred experience. There are many podcasts you can choose, many experiences you can take, but
because in particular, when I was talking about Marlon and Marcus, they have some great stories about them growing up. Now,
wow,
you'll love to hear them some of the stuff they did growing up. So it'll be kind of that's something to look forward to here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have that one on, and that's just just tip of the iceberg of the people that have approached me, and after they heard we wanted to do this idea, that they would love to come on here and just chat with us.
Yeah, and maybe people you'd never even heard of that'll just blow your mind with some of the stories they have of stuff that's happened right here over the years, and we're really looking forward to seeing where this leads. So, with that in mind, keep us on the list. You can subscribe to the Preferred Experience on all the platforms. In the Apple Store, on Google Play, PrattvilleLive.com. This is all going to be archived there. You can find us there on the Prattville Live Instagram, Prattville Live YouTube. It's all going to be there. So the Preferred Experience. Be on the lookout and subscribe today.
Yeah, it's we'll be part of the Buzzsprout podcasting group. It's a app online that distributes it out for us. You can actually go on their site, Buzzsprout. We'll be partnering with several people that we already know that are in the Buzzsprout network, and we will be doing some partnering things with them as far as sharing content and whatnot. And but you will be able to find it on anything Prattville Live YouTube page. We'll have not only the entire podcast, but we will also have it easily broken down into segments. So if there's just a little particular part you want, if all you want to hear is the Chip Powell Poetic Justice Minute, then you can go right to it and just listen just to it. But you don't want to do that. You want to listen to everything.
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of people are just going to want to hear that. There's a lot of ladies that are just going to want to hear that. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
But also on Prattville Live Facebook page, we'll link to all the podcasts. Our Instagram page, our Twitter page, and everything. And we invite everybody to subscribe to all of them, the YouTube, Facebook, and we're not going to have any exclusivity to any particular social media outlet. So you can find it anywhere. So whichever one you prefer, you'll be able to find the Preferred Experience.
Yeah, and we just love this community. There's so much depth of character in this community, so much history of not just things that happen, but people that make it happen. And we're gonna get into all that. I mean, you're gonna hear stuff that that you will only hear on the Preferred Experience about stuff that's happened here. Stories from like stories of Marcus and Marlon, stories of other guests that are gonna come in here. It's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be convicting at times. It's going to be sad at times. It's going to run the gambit, and that's one of the reasons why it's called the Preferred Experience. It's a little something for everybody.
And we have yet to have one person come out and pop and know who that is on the logo we created yet. Not one person. So I'm still looking to see who could just recognize the logo.
I know a couple of people, once they see it, they're going to know who it is.
Oh yeah, once you point out one feature, they pretty much get it after that. But I want to thank Smith Wood for putting that together for us. He's a good friend of mine from high school. A lot of y'all know him as Jeff Wood, but he goes by Smith Wood. He
2 last names, huh?
Yeah.
He must be rich.
Very, very, very rich in skill. I'll put it that way. He's rich in skill. Yeah. Great guy. He really a talented guy. His artistic ability is unbelievable, musically and art in his drawing ability. I was like, hey, I kind of described to him what I wanted for the logo. He calls me back up 15 minutes later with a screen with a little shot on his phone. He says, "This is what you after." I go, "That's exactly it.
Got it.
Done."
And then we're on the air.
Yeah.
So, and now we're going to take it to a section of the podcast that I think is going to be a big hit. We're really proud to have this as part of the Preferred Experience. What do we end up calling this thing?
I believe Poetic
Justice. That's right. And there he is, Poetic Justice with Chip Powell, and he joins us now.
Well, hey, listen, guys, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity to further the education of poetry and the importance here on the community. And y'all seem to not recognize the importance of it, and that's what we're going to try to do here.
Well, we used to get this once a year when we played Sid Lanier in high school football. Prattville would play Sid Lanier because, of course, the poets brought it out of you.
Yeah, and, I may have misinformed y'all over the years because he's not my favorite poetry guy,
He was the one,
poet.
just the one we had.
It's hard to say poet.
Well, you kind of had to gravitate toward him because he was a local person, but
He actually lived here,
Yeah,
for a
he
while.
did. But let's be honest.
Yeah. But anyway.
Well, who would you say is your favorite poet?
I got a list of them. I'm going to tell you about different centuries, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm not really going to quote any poetry today. I'm not really prepared for that. But, part of that is because COVID shut down the poetry club at Sunrise on the Creek.
True.
Talga Creek. And, of course, y'all never went, and you wouldn't know what this is about. It's a special group of people, and it takes, that person that has the love for poetry as I do.
Well, you brought out two things that are very hard for both of us to comprehend: poetry and sunrise.
Yeah, believe me, it gets in, especially during the rut, during January, the deer rut or buck rut or whatever.
now is it sunrise service?
That's
was it sunrise because of Bruce Kilo coming off of his night shift? Is that the reason why you had to do that?
that, and we've got a number of guys that would shock you that have attended some of these poetry club meetings. I'm going to let you guess Millzer because you know him, but he was a former basketball coach. I believe he led Prattville and Taugaville, but he led Taugaville to a state championship.
Oh, you can't be talking about not Coach Benny Lee Justice. No.
Coach Justice went a couple times and surprised at his knowledge of poetry, but pretty strong. But but listen, I'm not going to hold y'all long. Y'all got a lot to talk about. But I will tell you what some of the guys I'm going to talk about. Just my favorite ones over the years. From the 1500s, man. I mean, can you go without Shakespeare?
I don't think
no.
Billy Shakespeare has got to be in the top.
Yes, or William, everyone, what you want to call it.
His friends call him Billy.
Yeah. 1600s, John Milton. I mean, plenty of poems there.
Yeah.
And then 1700s, William Wordsworth. That guy, he was phenomenal.
He was our first sheriff, I believe.
Yeah. I think, yes, he was. Or was that Wadsworth?
Well, it was my bad.
Yeah,
I got it mixed up.
Wordsworth.
That's right.
1800s, Edgar Allan Poe, Emily Dickinson, both those. It's hard to go with either one. And, of course, the 1900s, Robert Frost or the Sugar Hill Gang. Both of those are very important.
Absolutely.
Sugar Hill with the first really huge rap, which is basically a poem.
It is poetry. If you can rhyme that many times and make it make sense and flow.
Now, I'm a little disappointed you don't have one of my relatives in there.
Donnie Burnett.
Oh, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody likes a Longfellow,
That's what I hear.
But he just didn't make my top group. I'm sorry, guys, but I've got a little bit more knowledge than y'all do.
I think he's just doing that because he's family of mine. he's been known to cut the Wadsworth's throat anytime he can.
And listen, our next cast, though, will be my first poem, and it'll probably be emotional, but we'll get through it.
Well, that's why we that's why we do it.
Yeah, but guys, I appreciate it, and I just thank you for the what am I getting, 2 to 3 minutes each week?
Well, as long as you need, brother. As long as you need.
And
it's a podcast. It's not a live performance.
That is true. Yeah. But make sure you join us for the Poetic Justice time with me, Chip Powell. Thank you.
It's going to be awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this up, this little intro up. Be able to look out for episode 1 coming at you in the next few days. This is The Preferred Experience. I'm Will Barrett. There's the Millzer right there. And subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.